We're two sisters who believe that the purpose of life is to enjoy, create, and have fun. We believe that as humans, we can have anything we want, and things are always working out for us. Experience has taught us that the path to getting everything we want begins with ease. If you believe in miracles and happily ever after, or even if you just want to, then this is the podcast for you. Hi, I'm your host, Kayla Rain.
Hi, I'm your co-host, Adria Shea.
And welcome back to Attract It with Ease. Great to see you, Adria.
Oh, it's so good to be with you.
I can't wait to talk about our gratitude. What are you grateful for this week and why?
I am grateful that we were raised in a family that endowed us with a love of culture and art. And I just think about all the plays that we were dragged to as kids. Yeah, I'm sure it felt that way to mom and dad. I'm sure we did not sit quietly. But, I love the theater. I have really fond memories of seeing ballet growing up.
I don't think I was taken to ballet.
Oh, you were taken to the Nutcracker.
No.
I guarantee that was a tradition.
Until I was born, and then they couldn't afford it anymore.
And just art. Like I have an appreciation for all sorts of art. It's one of my big loves, actually. And I feel very, very blessed that we were exposed to that from a young age. So that's on my list, definitely.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm curious. Do you feel the same way?
I do. But I was going to say, I don't think I've ever expressed gratitude for that. So that's crazy. I used to manage an art gallery years ago. Shalise, our sister Shalise, she has some stunning limited edition artwork in her home. And yeah, I would say the arts is instilled in all of us. And I am grateful for that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Of course.
What else are you grateful for?
Second thing I am grateful for is my health. I've had just a few minor health crises, not sure what the plural form of that is, throughout my life. And my body has rebounded every single time. So when I think about, for example, I had back surgery many years ago, and I don't even think about that anymore. I can just move the same way someone who's never had back surgery can. So I'm very, very grateful for my health and that my body has healed and forgiven me for so much abuse over the years. I haven't always been kind to my body.
That's incredible. And once again, you've hit on something I haven't thought about in a long time either. I broke my kneecap back in 2011. And it's amazing that I almost never think about that. I just have full range of motion and how incredible and amazing our bodies are that they can recover and feel normal.
I know, it's really miraculous. Even I think sometimes about just the fact that if you get a cut and then two pieces of skin can grow back together and become one. It's just phenomenal.
I feel like we could just spend this whole episode talking about gratitude because everything you say, I have something to say. Dan, my fiance, comes home with a new cut on his hands every single night. And I told him yesterday, what did I say? Something to the effect of, you cut yourself more than a tree trimmer. And he says, how many tree trimmers do you know? And I said, none, but I believe you cut yourself more than a tree trimmer. But yes, how wonderful that you can put some super glue on it and it's magically better in a couple of days. That's amazing.
It's incredible.
It is.
My third one's a little more, I don't know if shallow is the right word, but I'm grateful for online banking because I am lazy at heart. And can you imagine if we had to go to the bank for every single transaction or deposit or withdrawal? And
oh my gosh, especially right now during the pandemic, I don't like standing in line. And I don't like standing in line 6 feet apart when everything takes 5 times as long as it used to.
Right. And you're wearing a mask the whole time if you're in the United States, probably. So
fogging up your glasses. Yes. Totally get that. What about you?
What are you grateful for, Kayla?
I don't know if I've said this one before. I probably have, but I'm going to say it again because it's a big one for me. And it's trees. I'm so thankful for trees. I feel like I was a tree in a past life, if that's even a thing. I don't know if I believe in
Yeah,
past lives, but I am obsessed with trees, and I love how trees and plants provide oxygen for us, and they just make things feel homey, and they provide shade and allow us to hang a hammock, and I'm just so grateful for trees. Also, I am so grateful that we have listeners from around the world. Adria, we
It's
get
exciting.
stats on our podcast, and I don't know if you know this yet, but I'm going to list some of the countries that we have listeners in. Okay, so we're
I'm
in the
excited.
United States.
Woohoo!
We have a couple listeners in Canada.
Oh, nice.
We have a couple listeners in India. It used to just be one that I was aware of, but now it shows 2 different areas of India. So I think we have at least 2.
Yay. Love
We
it. Thank you.
Yes, we have a listener in Bangladesh.
Oh, wow.
One in South Africa. At least one in Belgium. One in the Netherlands. One in Russia.
Oh, my word. This is
one
awesome.
in El Salvador.
Wow.
So if you're from any of those places, we're talking about you, and we are grateful for you. It's so exciting. It's amazing to me how doing something like this can literally reach all corners of the world. People
really
everywhere are listening to us, and how great that the English language can be communicated everywhere. Whether people speak English or it's translated, I think that's incredible. And I'm grateful for that. And then the third thing that I have is also pretty superficial. If you remember a few podcasts back, I was talking about boots, and I was saying that's on my mind because I'm trying to find some.
Yes.
There was a pair of boots that I really wanted for Christmas, and they sold out everywhere.
I remember you telling me
big
this.
thing that I really wanted. And that's what I had asked Dan for. He searched everywhere. First of all, we couldn't find the color that I wanted. Then we couldn't find the size. And then it was like, nobody had them anywhere. It completely sold out before Christmas. And then lo and behold, a week or so ago, I got an Instagram ad for these exact boots that I have been searching for from one of the websites I checked that was sold out of them. And they got them back in stock, and they had my color, they had my size, because it was after Christmas. They were on sale.
Wow.
I totally found the boots. I'm so excited. And the biggest reason that I'm excited is they're the shoes I'm going to wear for my wedding. It sounds funny to wear boots, but we're getting married outdoors. We're eloping on the side of a cliff. And so that was part of the reason it was such a big deal to me. And so now I have my wedding dress ordered. I have my wedding shoes. I feel like things are coming together for me, and I am so excited about it.
That's really exciting. Congratulations on manifesting that.
Thank you. I didn't know that it was possible. I should have known that it was possible. It felt totally impossible because nobody had them. And then suddenly they had them. And I acted on inspiration, and I ordered them the day I saw them.
Excellent.
I didn't wait. Okay, well, that leads us into this week's episode. And I want to talk about, first of all, something that has changed my life that I absolutely love. We're not getting paid to promote this, but listeners, if you're unaware of this, you should totally check it out because I think you'll love it too. And Adria, that is the Notes from the Universe. Are you subscribed to the Notes from the Universe?
I am. Yes, you told me about it, and I love it. I'm so glad you told me about it.
So some of our listeners may already be aware of the Notes from the Universe, but for those of you that are not, there's a guy out there. He's an author. His name is Mike Dooley. Mike Dooley. And Mike Dooley has written several books, but Mike Dooley also has a website, and his website is www.tut, that's T-U-T, tut.com. So www.tut.com. When you go there, you can sign up for Notes from the Universe. It's entirely free, and you can decide how frequently you want to get them. The most you can receive them is 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. That's the free version anyway. But you can sign up for these Notes from the Universe, and when you sign up, it tells you to put in some of the things you're working on manifesting or some of your goals. So it tells you to write them in the present tense, that you as if you already have it. And so I think it's 3 different goals that it has you write. But then these notes from the universe get emailed to you Monday through Friday, and they are written specifically to you, addressed from the universe. They're the most amazing, inspiring, uplifting messages every weekday in your inbox. And then from time to time, they'll take those little phrases of the goals that you're working on and input them into the note to let you know that you're on track for manifesting these things. And it is so much fun. So listeners, first of all, this is not your action item, but you really should go subscribe. Do it. You will love it. You will thank me later. It is amazing. It's entirely free. I am a huge Mike Dooley fan. But here's why we're talking about this today. There was a note from the universe. Oh my goodness, probably back in like 2010, maybe. And it's probably the one note that has stuck with me more than any of the others. I think about it all the time. And in fact, the phrasing I'm going to refer to in just a minute, Mike Dooley wrote in a note from the universe a couple of months ago again. And I thought, oh, that's just like the note I love. So that phrase, and this is just paraphrasing, and it's from a portion of one of these emails. And that note or that phrase said, do everything you can from where you are with what you have. I'm going to say that again. Do everything you can from where you are with what you have. Adria, when you hear that phrase, what do you think of?
Makes me feel empowered because it means that no matter who I am or what I have to work with, I can be taking steps to manifest the life I want. Yes. So it's thrilling to me. It's exciting.
It is exciting. And here's why this has really stuck with me, because yes, just like you said, it feels empowering. It feels like you can do something. But sometimes with the law of attraction, it's easy to feel stuck. It's easy to feel like you don't know what to do. And we've talked about on prior episodes, okay, what is there to do? What is the work? And we've said, well, the work is to always feel good, to make sure that you stay in a high vibration state. And then last episode, we talked about following on or acting on inspiration, following promptings, listening to your heart. Those are things that we can do. But sometimes aside from that, it feels like, okay, I made a vision board and I'm thinking positively and I'm staying happy, but it just feels like nothing's moving. And when you don't see anything moving because it's going on behind the scenes, then it really does feel like nothing's moving. And I might have said this on a prior episode. I'm not sure. I'm going to say it again because it's worth mentioning. I think it's Esther Hicks that says this in the book, Ask and It Is Given. But she talks about how the way the universe works is it's kind of like driving at night with your headlights on. And you can only see as far as your headlights go. You can't see beyond the headlights to know what else is out there. So there's this whole world out there that's going on, that's happening, that's moving. People are talking, people are connecting, people are doing things, and you can't see them because you can only see what's in your headlights. And so when we think about things that are manifesting, if it's not right in front of our face or right about to happen, we usually can't see it. And so it feels like it's not going on. But there's conversations happening in other places with other people and movement that's taking place, and things are being aligned that are outside of our awareness. And because we're not aware of it, it feels like nothing's happening. So it's kind of like, so how can we make things happen without controlling the how? How can we feel like we're involved? How can we feel like we're doing something to progress and move forward if we aren't supposed to worry about how it comes about, and we're not supposed to try and force an outcome, and we're not supposed to manipulate a situation? So to me, that's where this phrase from this note from the universe comes into place, because it says, do everything you can from where you are with what you have. And when I think about it, it's really thinking about all the things on my vision board and going, okay, what could I do? What could I actually do to prepare myself or to move this forward or to show the universe that I'm ready and I'm willing And there's so many things. So let's talk about some of those things. First of all, we can make space. And I feel like this is an episode in and of itself, and probably will be soon, because I've been thinking about what I want to say on this topic. So we won't go into a lot of depth, but making space means a lot of things. And it could be getting rid of whatever's standing in the way of what you're asking for. For example, let's say you're in an unhappy relationship. I was in a terrible relationship, and I did not want that relationship. But it took me years to leave that relationship in order to find the relationship that I'm now in. And while you're in that bad relationship, as long as you're not willing to leave, you're not going to be able to attract the new and better relationship because you haven't made space for it. That's one example of making space. So that's something that you could do. So you could sit around and you can hope for this great person that's going to walk into your life, and that when you meet them, you'll know it. But if you're still with somebody else, promise you haven't made space. It's not going to come about until you've made space for that new person. You could do some research. So, Adria, you have talked about how you want to spend some time living in another country. We've talked about that a few times on the podcast. We've talked about that off air. Would you say that you've done any research on where you want to go, what you want to do, how you want to make it work?
I have done some, not nearly enough. If someone walked up to me tomorrow and said, you can go and I'll pay your way, just tell me where you're going and what you want to do when you get there, I'd be like a deer. I'm not that prepared yet.
Okay. So there's more that you can do for research, right?
Yes.
Think about everything that it takes in order just to book a trip. Right now, I'm in the process of trying to figure out what we're doing for a honeymoon. And there are so many different options. And now we have the pandemic and we have these travel restrictions. And so there's, finding out what's feasible, what makes sense, what's the backup plan, what's affordable, where do we stay, what are the rules, what are the guidelines? Well, even if I don't have the money to book that, I still need to figure these things out before I do book that. So that would be an example of something that I could do. I could start working on the research side of things. I could do the things that don't cost any money until I have the money or until the opportunity presents itself. Back in, I'm trying to remember what year it was, probably 2004 or 5, I was in real estate, and I had a goal of buying a Z06 Corvette. That was my dream car. And when I hit a certain status level, that was going to be the way that I rewarded myself. I was going to buy a Corvette. The reason I wanted a Corvette is that Barbie drives a Corvette, and I was going to have it painted hot pink or whatever color shade pink Barbie drives. I was going to have a license plate frame that said, "Even Barbie's jealous." And it was my goal back then. I changed my mind about what I wanted, but I will tell you, one of the things that I did, even though I could not afford that Corvette, was I took a girlfriend of mine and we went down to the dealership and we test drove Corvettes.
Wow.
And the people probably thought we were crazy. And at the time I was in my 20s. And so they probably were like, this girl will never afford this. And who does she think she is? And make sure somebody goes with her. Don't give her the keys. But that was a piece of me trying to put myself in the mindset of, this is something that is in my future. This is going to be my reality. I need to know what it feels like. I need to make sure that this is what I really want. I need to be able to imagine myself in it. We talked about putting pictures of yourself on your vision board with the thing that you want. I didn't do it back then, but that would have been a great photo opportunity. Get a picture of me driving my Corvette that I'm going to own. Put it on your vision board. That's something you can totally do to put yourself in that mode. Tell the universe, look, I'm ready, to start believing that it's possible, to start visualizing yourself as if you already have it. These are some of the things that we're talking about. Can you think of anything else, Adria, that you could do for anything? Maybe just pick one thing that's on your vision board or you want on your vision board and think about what are some things that you could do right now, today, with where you are and what you have to start feeling like you're progressing towards that.
Well, back to Sweden, which is not going to be the only thing on my vision board, but I'm taking Swedish lessons for that very reason. And I'm learning everything I can about the culture. Definitely. Because I want to be as comfortable as possible there when I get there. And I remember, I know someone who was divorced and wanting to meet someone new. She started parking her car on one side of the garage instead of in the middle of the garage to, like you said, kind of make space for someone to come into her life and take up the other half of her garage.
Oh, I like that. You could do that for the Corvette too.
Yes.
Just move over and make a parking spot for the Corvette. See how I think of 2 cars for myself instead of the relationship.
That's right.
I think that's awesome. I think it's incredible to think of all of the different resources that are available to us, especially today in today's world, because there's YouTube where you can watch how-to videos on things. I'm thinking, for example, Dan, my fiance, I know I have to keep saying that, but people who haven't listened to prior episodes are probably like, who the heck is Dan? Dan and I are wanting to build an A-frame tiny house. And there's a specific one that we want, but we spend hours upon hours, and it's fun for us, which is part of why we do it. But almost every weekend we're watching videos on YouTube about people that are building tiny houses and ways to install solar and different options for collecting rainwater and growing gardens and building your homestead and all of these things. And not only does it inspire us and give us incredible ideas, but it really makes it feel like, oh my gosh, this is possible. This is a reality. It's happening. It's funny how when it's like constantly on the brain, even if you feel like nothing's changed and nothing's moving, it feels like something's moving because there's just this energy and this excitement and this enthusiasm and this intensity that comes from focusing on it, which I feel like really helps attract that and also puts you in that high vibration state that we talk about that helps with attracting. So YouTube is a big one. We've talked about expressing gratitude. That's a way that you can do something you can do. And one thing that we haven't really hit on yet that also is probably an episode in and of itself is being grateful for what we're asking for in advance, meaning thanking the universe for the very thing we're asking for as if we already have it and putting ourselves and our mind in that mindset of receiving and believing that it's coming and that it's here and saying, thank you so much for this thing that I've been asking for. I'm so incredibly excited and I'm so incredibly blessed. And spending a few minutes just picturing that we have it instead of thinking about not having it, instead of thinking about the lack, focusing on how it will feel when we do have it and acting as if we do have it. I read again, I think in Ask and It's Given, I read that there was someone who was trying to manifest a certain level of wealth. And so they went and hired a financial planner. And they, were just making regular amounts of money. But that was this woman's way of preparing for this large sum of money that was going to come into her life. And she was like, I better go talk to a financial planner because I need to be prepared for when this money comes. And I love that. And that's that's one of those pieces that you wouldn't think about until I mean, imagine if you won the lottery, what are the steps? What are the things that you would have to do to protect yourself and make sure you were prepared? One of those things would be talking to a financial planner. So why not just go talk to a financial planner ahead of time in preparation for the money that you're going to come into?
Let me just tell you, be so impressed. I have a sign in my bathroom right now, right by the mirror, so that I see it every time I wash my hands at the sink or whatever. This is, I am so thankful for, and it's something I don't have yet. But every time I see it, I almost feel like I have it and feel like I'm getting closer. So,
is it always the same thing or do you change it up?
It is always the same thing, but it's occurred to me I should probably put a couple signs in that room.
No, not necessarily. Whatever makes you feel good. But I'm going to challenge you to think about why you're so thankful for it.
All right.
Just like we talk about with gratitude, saying thank you, but saying why we're thankful. I encourage you to put that, or even just have that thought every time you see the sign in your bathroom,
All
expressing
right. Yeah,
gratitude
I'll
and
do
then
it.
thinking about why you're so thankful for that. Because like we said, it would be exciting to have a hot tub, but not if it doesn't work. So it's not about receiving the hot tub. It's about what receiving the hot tub means and what that experience and that feeling is. What does it evoke? Let's talk about some other things that we can do in preparation or to move forward, things that we can do from where we are with what we have. And one thing we haven't really talked about that I'm sure a lot of our listeners are dealing with is, maybe people want to buy a house, or maybe they want to buy a new car. Maybe they want whatever. And they say, yeah, but my credit's shot. So what can you do about that? Well, you could sit around and you can wait for 7 years for whatever to fall off, or you can file bankruptcy or whatever that may or may not help you, or you could actually get yourself into credit repair. I mean, that's just an option. It's an alternative. There's so many action items. And if you take every item on your vision board and you just stop and think about what's one thing I could do today from where I am with what I have, meaning the resources, the money, the time, the whatever, what can I do today to move that forward? You'll find that as you start doing these small things, you'll find more small things, and it will move forward. And it's honestly moving forward whether you feel like it is or not. But these are things that you can do that can help, but also can help you mentally so that you don't go into that state of, oh, it doesn't work for me. Oh, nothing ever manifests. It gets you in that state of being excited and expecting and staying in that high vibration and feeling like you're actually doing something and you're helping and you can feel it and you can see it coming. And I don't know if you've ever had this experience, Adria, but this is something common for me lately. And I know I sound loony and I say it to Dan all the time. And he's really good about not making me feel bad. But I'm sure in his mind, he's probably like rolling his eyes, going, I don't even know what that means. But I say to him all the time, and I've said this before we even moved to the area, back when we were in Sedona, I would say, I feel like things are happening. Have you ever felt like that? Have you ever said that? I say it all the time, and I don't say it if I don't mean it, but I often just get this like weird feeling. It's funny, and that's where I say I'm loony, because it's a feeling, but I feel like things are in motion. I feel like things are happening, and I say that to him all the time, and I feel that way with our house, and it's kind of like nothing looks like it's happening. Like nothing's changed from today, or nothing's different today than it was 12 months ago. But I feel like things are happening. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's that part that's right in front of the headlights. It's just beyond where the headlights can see.
Yes. And it's funny how you actually can feel energy. We've probably talked about this, but a prime example of that, somebody walks into a room that you've never met, and you can almost instantly sense the kind of person that they are. They can walk in and you've probably experienced this. Someone can walk in the room and you can think to yourself, ooh, I don't like that person. I don't want to sit by that person. They come sit by you and you're like, ooh, you're almost creeped out by them. Other times someone walks in a room and instantly, they don't even have to say something, and you just like feel this glowing energy, enthusiasm, happiness, or sometimes they just walk in with confidence. They exude confidence and they don't even have to talk. And you could just feel or sense their presence and their energy when they walk in a room. We've all had that experience when we're laying down with our eyes closed and we can feel someone hovering over us. They don't even have to touch us. And you can sense somebody's there, and it's creepy. You think about like opening your eyes and seeing someone standing above you and you're like, oh, don't do that. But it's like, to open your eyes because you can sense that somebody's there. That's just an example of how you can sense energy. Energy can be felt. Sometimes we're more sensitive to it than other times. But I really believe when things are big and things are really in motion, I feel like if you're in tune to it and if you're looking for it, you can sense that. And I'm the crazy person that senses it, and I say it all the time. And I'm like, I feel like things are in motion. But this is part of what gets you in that high vibration, fun, enthusiastic state, is finding these little things that you can do to move things forward. So I mentioned a couple weeks ago on one of our podcasts that I'm estranged from my son. And one of the things that I would really love to manifest is having a relationship with my son. But we've also talked about how one of the rules of the law of attraction is that I can only control my side of the thing. I can't control his side. I can't determine what outcome he wants. I can't force him to have a relationship with me. I can't control any of that. I can only control how I feel and what I do. So I have no idea if I will reconnect with my son in this life. I'm hopeful. I believe so. But I've been thinking about, do everything you can from where you are with what you've got. And I've thought, well, what can I do? I can't really do anything is what it feels like, especially after all these years. And I've put effort before, and I haven't really put effort in a long time. And I was really kind of having a heart to heart with myself in the last week or so about this, thinking there's things I could do. It's been a long time since I've reached out. I could totally reach out. And yes, he could shoot me down. Yes, he could ignore me. Yes, maybe I'm blocked. I can't control the outcome, but I can put myself out there. I can follow my theme word for this year, which is to be fearless. I can write him a letter. I can do something. I can do something. And there's probably more than just writing him a letter or reaching out. I could probably have other people reach out. I could probably hire a private investigator and show up at his door. I'm not saying I will do that. I'm not going to do that because that would be also loony. But there's things that you can do. And I really want to encourage our listeners to think about the things that they're working on. What are you trying to manifest? And what can you do today from where you are with what you have to help move that thing towards you, to help prepare yourself to be ready, to make space for that item? And we've given a lot of ideas. One thing we haven't talked about is you can emulate someone, you can study another person, especially if it's a level of success or wealth. There's people in the world who have achieved that, who have done the very thing you're trying to do. And you can study them. You can read their stories. You can talk to them. You can interview them, or you can try to, or you can find somebody that's done what you're trying to do and use them as a guide, use them as advice or someone to emulate. There's just so many things. Can you think of anything else that I haven't listed off or that we haven't talked about yet? It's just another little bit of advice we could give our listeners as to something that they can use or do that takes very little effort or money or resources.
No, I can't think of anything.
And that's fair. That's fair. I think we've really given a lot of good ideas. Just to recap, we talked about working on your credit. We talked about test driving cars. We talked about you could go get a pre-approval letter if you're trying to buy a house. You could make space by getting rid of things, whether it's a relationship or excess. You could start saving. Even if you feel like you only have a little bit of money, you could save just a little bit. You could start studying. You could start learning a new language. You could start doing the research on travel. You could start doing the research on which one you would want to buy. You know, if you have a dream car in mind, start researching, you know, what colors it's available on. I know that most car websites, you can go on and you can build your car. You can build the wheels that you want and the interior that you want and the add-ons that you want and build that car and find out exactly what it's going to cost. There's so many things. And then of course, gratitude is always a piece that we can add to that, and we can visualize and we can make sure it's on our vision board, and we can figure out ways to picture ourselves already owning it and expressing gratitude for having it. And pretty much, I'm excited to hear what our listeners find themselves doing with what they have from where they are. I think there's probably countless other things that people could be doing that we didn't even think of to list. I can't wait to hear some of the experiences our listeners have. But that leads me to our action item for this week, which is I'm going to encourage our listeners to pick one thing from their vision board. Pick one thing you're trying to manifest. I don't care if it's big. I don't care if it's small. Pick one thing. And then I want you to mentally, you don't have to write it down unless you want to, but mentally try and think of every single thing that you can do today. And I don't mean you have to do it today, but think of every single thing you could start right now. If you invested time and energy and money, if you had it, what are all the things you could do to try and work on bringing that about? What are all the things you can do that you haven't done yet? And then once you think of that mental list, and maybe you can only think of one thing, but you might be able to think of 3 or 4. Think of everything you can think of to start working on that. And then pick one thing and do it. Pick that one thing and do it today. Start it today. So make that phone call, write that letter, sign up for that class, start Googling flights, do the research on cost of living, sign up for credit repair, apply for the loan, go test drive the car, add it to your vision board. I don't care what it is. Pick one thing and do it today. And it will feel so good. Adria, I'm encouraging
that's really
you
exciting.
To do it too. I want you to do it, and I'm going to do it also. I'm going to write my son a letter.
Right. I'm glad to hear that. That's really exciting.
Well, I am excited for next week's episode as well. But before we wrap up, we need to announce a winner from our giveaway. We picked another winner, and we are appreciative of all the reviews. We've had quite a few reviews coming in, and we're so grateful. Thank you all for the feedback. And our winner this week, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but Adria, it's spelled Umacisne. How would you pronounce that?
I think that's Umacisne. Umacisne.
Umacisne is our winner. Umacisne, if you will send us an email at hello@attractitwithease.com, tell us your theme word for the year and give us your address, and we will send you a custom bracelet. Thank you for your review. Adria, can you tell our listeners again what our giveaway is?
Each week, we will pick one person at random from the list of people who have submitted reviews for our podcast on all platforms. And that person will win a custom bracelet with their theme word of the year.
Thank you. So 52 winners. This is our 3rd winner. There's still plenty of weeks to win. Leave us a review. We want to hear from you. We appreciate our listeners. We appreciate your feedback. And we look forward to talking to you next week. Adria, have a great evening.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.